So I spent about 2 or 3 hours in the chat room for Fox News 10 that was doing supposedly live coverage of the shooting. And I noticed some things that were suspicious. First off, a lot of the details that I was able to visibly see were very suspicious. Also, I noticed the chat was looping, so they had people spamming anti-gun messages over and over and over again, and racist messages as well, particularly against white people. But then they had people on the other side of the aisle spamming their messages too, so they wanted to create this political division. And the chat kept looping, so I would type something, and then I would see what I typed come up again. So it was purposely looping these spam bots on this mainstream news channel, even though it was a local channel in the live chat. So that was very suspicious. And then another thing I found suspicious was where were the mass evacuation of the kids? It only showed about 15 or 20 people, like literally, like families and kids. Like, my question is, why wouldn't the families be lined up outside of the school crying? Then nobody was crying. That's another huge sign of this was a suspicious event, a false flag. I'm just gonna say it right now. It was a setup. It was an inside job. I can tell that it was because it's happened before. It's happened on 9/11. It happened at Sandy Hook. I'm not saying I worship Alex Jones or something. I'm able to look at details. Some people can be right even if they're wrong about some other things. I don't believe with his views on the cosmology and everything. I believe the Bible. He doesn't. No, this is just visibly suspicious. They were not giving us updates. It took them this long to get the actual count of people dead. At first they were saying it was 15 people dead, and now it's 20 or 22, at least 20. Why was it taking them so long? All the cops outside were just milling around, and it just kept repeating that same footage. They actually kept looping the same footage too, and then they kept going over the Twitter posts of all these people commenting about, oh, we need to do such and such about the gun laws. The whole thing was very suspicious. They weren't giving us the information on the actual case on a time basis. They even said that they weren't contacting the parents at first. So the whole thing is just stinks to high heaven, and it's really disgusting. The guy, apparently his truck was outside the school, and there was a wheel broken off, which was strange. They also said that he brought in a rifle, but they didn't find a rifle. But the question is, how would you be able to even carry the two and use the two? Why would you need the two? It just didn't make any sense. They had so little details, and they kept going over these Twitter posts about people's anti-gun sentiments over and over and over again without giving us any details about the actual case. And they just kept doing that over and over again for like 3 hours. And then talking their political points of how, oh, well, he just lowered the gun age to 18 and yada yada. And it's right around the elections. It's right around the primaries. Isn't that so convenient for Democrats and the people in power who are trying to take away guns from God-fearing, God-loving citizens, peaceful, loving citizens? You see, because they're not peaceful, loving citizens. They're the ones who actually violate people. They're the ones who are trying to bring in the New World Order, trying to create a one-world government where they can give everybody the mark of the beast, and they'll behead all the Christians, or everybody who was left behind, who decides that they want to convert to Christianity when they see how bad the world is getting. They will have another way of salvation. They're going to have to read the books of Hebrews through Revelation. They will have to reject the mark of the beast and either be beheaded or somehow escape the Antichrist, which might just be completely close to impossible, you know. So most people who accept Jesus will be beheaded during the Great Tribulation, and that's what this whole event was about today. They're trying to get rid of the guns, and they just kept pushing their political agenda without giving us any details about the actual shooting. Oh, one of the biggest clues too that this was related to Sandy Hook is there was a lockdown before the shooter came in. This stinks to high heaven. That's exactly what happened on Sandy Hook. There was a lockdown, and somehow there was still a shooting. It doesn't make any sense, guys. Wake up.